Welcome in to Doubling Down for me and Vinny's greatest time of the year. That's right, it's the start of Saratoga. But you will notice on the other side of my screen here is not Vinny. We welcome in J Worm, the most loyal viewer of the Doubling Down channel. He's always in the comments. And when he saw on our earlier preview show this week that Vinny was going to be in Disney celebrating his anniversary with his wife. So, congratulations to you, Vinny. J-Worm, you said, hey, I'm ready to jump in. I'm ready to take the challenge, and we love getting new handicappers on the show. So first off, welcome for your first time in the hot seat.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here. As you said, I enjoy the show, and congrats to Vinny and his wife. I hope they have a great time down there, and I hope I do him justice on the show.
Oh, you'll do him plenty of justice. He's been ice cold lately, so you can't get much worse than Vinny. And I hope he watches and sees this because he knows we love to tease each other. But it is a really exciting time to be opening up Saratoga in coordination with 4th of July weekend, which is special. The World Cup has a lot of excitement. And someone made a really good point this morning on the Steve Bick show that for the first time, we're leaving at the end of the Saratoga meet. There's a lot of excitement for the new opening of the Belmont Park track. Usually when Saratoga ends, it's like, back to school, back to fall, back to cold weather. And I think coming out of this meet, that excitement is really going to carry through. And Forever Young showing up for the first weekend of Belmont Park is really, really exciting. You haven't made it up to Saratoga. Is it on your bucket list to get up and see some races there?
Oh, it absolutely is. I had the pleasure to go down to Keeneland with Tim, Riders Up Tim, and Sean Patrick Nolan, and Sean told me, you know, he loves Keeneland. He loved it down there, but he said at Saratoga is a different, a different feel. The whole town's involved, so absolutely a bucket list track for me.
Hopefully you can make it up. Maybe this summer. I will be up there next Thursday and Friday. So if any viewers are out there up at Saratoga, me and Vinny will be at the track on Friday together. I think we have discussed doing a live handicapping show from the picnic tables Friday morning next weekend. I'll have my son with me, so we'll see. We will absolutely going to do that Friday morning of Whitney weekend. So definitely pay attention. Hit that subscribe button right now so you're alerted if we go live from Saratoga. You don't want to miss it. And the only way you will know that is if the subscribe button is hit. So slam that button right now. This is Doubling Down. This is a show where we focus on a daily double. We earlier in the week walked through the stakes races at Saratoga this weekend, and I asked you which races did you want to do, and you said, "I doesn't matter, you pick." I wanted to try and find some competitive races that would challenge our viewers and challenge you. And we landed on the Belmont Oaks and the Suburban. That is race 7 and race number 8 on your cards for Saturday at Saratoga. Head on over to doublingdownshow.com. You can play along with us over there and put your picks in. I thought that the Belmont Oaks going a mile and an eighth on the inner turf for $600,000. It is a grade one. When I went through the races on Monday, both of these appeared to be very difficult for me to get through. I come into tonight's show feeling quite confident that I have picked the winners. And I felt even more confident when 5 minutes before we started, I texted you and said, let me know what your ticket is. And lo and behold, we landed on the exact same two horses. Actually, we did not. I apologize. We had landed on one of the same horses, and that is the number 8, Abashiri, for Charlie Appleby and William Buick. 5-2 coming in here is only raced 3 times. What did you like about the Godolphin bred, Godolphin owned number 8?
Well, first of all, Appleby and Buick are not going to come over here just to have a good time. They're coming over here to win a race. And this horse, excuse me, has all kinds of class. And when it comes to turf racing, and I know you're a big fan of class when it comes to turf racing, that stuck out to me. And I think I read something that Appleby said about this horse that, you know, if it sets back and it settles down into a good trip, that, you know, it could be one of the best European horses out there. So something to that effect. So I didn't take that lightly. And as you move over there to the class, you know, in Equibase, 1 out of 10 in class, 1 out of 10 in speed. So that's where I landed. I tried to find somebody else who I thought would beat that horse, and I couldn't do it.
Hmm. I watched the replay of the last race for Abashiri. That was the Irish 1000 Guineas on May 24th. Now, that race was only run at a mile, but in the stretch, Abashiri looked a winner until Precise just absolutely turned it on and kicked away very impressively. And Precise is very classy horse who would be the favorite in here. The distance has me a little concerned at using Abashiri. You know, hasn't raced at the mile on the eighth. You're also concerned. The one thing that I did see the notes from Charlie Appleby was that, you know, how's the horse going to handle the travel? Which to me, as you've watched me, I'm always a little skeptical of horses, not only traveling overseas, but traveling across country. That's sometimes the reason I like to fade some of these horses. But long on the turf, I will take the shot and use. Not, I'm not gonna say take a shot because it's 5-2, so we're not getting crazy here. But I will ignore the travel and think that this horse absolutely has a really good shot in here. So I will use the 8 as well. Then we both added another horse on the ticket. You used the Chad Brown trained number 6 Fits Right with Flavian Pratt aboard, who's won the last 3 times. What'd you like about Fits Right?
Um, you know, obviously those last 2 races, you know, won the Wonder Again stakes. Looks like he's improving. Definitely going to need a jump up from the class side of things and the speed side of things to get it done. But of anybody else in the race, that was the one that I landed on. So I went ahead and added him to the ticket, and you know, I will also use this horse underneath, you know, in exotics as well, as the doubling down double.
I love it. What I liked about Fits Right is the fact that this horse has a victory over a good turf, a yielding turf, a firm turf, Tampa, Aqueduct, and Saratoga. So that to me is what I wrote down on my notes as far as a versatile horse. Uh, I would say from a pace position as well. Like first time out, the horse was forwardly placed. 3 back, the horse was sixth at the first call, fifth, and closed nicely. So not only do you have the versatility of the way the horse runs the races, you also have the versatility to not be concerned on what the course is like on Saturday. And we tape this Thursday night with the possibility of not knowing if they're running on Friday because of the heat. And then if you look at the forecast, at least in the Boston area, and I assume Saratoga's 3 hours to the west. It's going to be somewhat similar. That there's some storms coming through Saturday, that are going to hopefully cool us off, and that could play into what is the scenario for what is the ground in race when they get to race 7. So for Fitz right with Chad Brown, that is what I kind of wrote down, is paying attention the fact that the horse is very very comfortable over multiple surfaces and multiple running styles. So I think you have a nice price there at 6-1. I think the figures are, if you're looking at Equibase, the highest figure was last time out. It was a 93. Horse has been improving, but I think is going to absolutely have to take another step forward. So that would probably be, a concern for Fitz right for me.
Yeah, I had that in my notes too. It's going to take a big jump up, but you know, based on you know, a couple other horses in the race, but you know, he gets Pratt this time, and you know, Chad Brown at Saratoga. So you know, I think the horse has got a shot. I think I don't think there's a lot of pace in this race. So you know, if he sets in a stalking trip. I think, you know, I think he'll be right up there. Um, there's, a few horses that are closers, and I just don't think in this race the closers are gonna have anything to run into.
Well, I hope you're wrong because I'm going to take one of those closers. And this is a horse that I'm really excited about. I was hoping I'd get a better price than 5 to 1. But this number 4, Faithful Departed, I think is one that everybody has to pay attention to. You get the hottest jockey really in the world right now with Jose Ortiz jumping aboard. And what stood out to me, first thing that you know, when I see the mile and the 8 distance, especially on the turf, I like to go through and just look at the entire field quickly. I'll just scroll through them all and be like, who's had success at a mile and an eighth? And there's only 2 horses that have run even at a mile and the eighth. That's the number 5, Storm's Wake, who finished second to the number 4, Faithful Departed. That was at a mile and an eighth last time out at Churchill Downs in the Regret Stakes. I'm really high on the possibility here for Faithful Departed. I think this horse has a huge shot. I love what we talked about with Fitz Right. You get the nice progression of speed figures here, but you then also get a nice little layoff. Hasn't raced since May 30th. And Grant Forster is actually 16% with a positive ROI in the turf route department. So Faithful Departed with Jose Ortiz for me stood out. And those really ended up being the only 2 that I felt like I needed to get through here. I am concerned about the 6. That was the first one I wrote down on Monday when we did our first preview, when we did our preview show of the stakes races. So I think you have the right one in there. So I think between the 3 horses we have, I think I can confidently say we'll get through here. I didn't get Vinny's picks. Usually he texts me before the show, so I don't know if he's on either of these as well. Did you have any interest, intrigue, or concern for number 4, Faithful Departed?
I like the horse. I just didn't think that, as I said, I don't think the pace is going to set up for closers to close into in this race. There's just not a lot of speed, and that was my main concern. You know, Jose Ortiz, what can you say? Obviously, jockey of the year right now, without question, in my mind. And the other thing, I guess, with the 4 is, no wins in New York, so I kind of took that into account.
Yeah, it makes sense. And then in Race Lens, Jay Worm and I are both users of Race Lens. They give you the race projection. And this actually gave me a little bit more confidence in my 4, seeing him early, a little bit more forwardly placed, earning a 98. And then in the middle, hanging tough with the 1 and the 8. You have to take into consideration the fact that the 8 is running in overseas. So I always put a little bit of a question mark when I look at the race projection here. But from what we see, it has the 8, 10, 4 as your 3 top horses as far as win percentage is concerned. This is Race Lens. They have started their NHC tournaments again, so you could, for $50, sign up and get in a whole slew of contests to try and qualify for NHC. Head over to Equibase to surely check that out. We have to take a quick time out here on Nesson Nation, but if you're watching on our YouTube, stay tuned because right now we are going to dive in to leg 2. All right, Jay Worm, before we dive into leg 2, what I did want to bring up to the people is there's so many ways you can play this game, and there's so many for us that are so involved in it. It's the data that can really be intriguing, and the amount of ways that you can look at the data and interpret it in different ways. And with the explosion of AI, it has opened a whole new world of, wow, what can I do? And if you sign up for Racelens, you can get the XMLs for all the tracks that we're looking at. So you have done a really tremendous job over at your website. We'll put a link in the description so everyone can find it. But you've come up with a handicapping tool. And why don't you explain to the viewers kind of why did you do this and what do you think bettors will get out of it?
Yeah, the whole idea behind this was I haven't been in the game um, deeply into the game, as long as you, Vinny, and a lot of the other people that we've talked about. So I really got into it about a year and a half ago. Really, really uh, digging in, and before that, I would play the Crown races, and I would just watch some analysts and form my opinions and go about it that way. But when I really started getting into it, the PPs were just extremely confusing to me. So having an analyst background at Tyson Foods, I I started using some AI and my own handicapping ideas and trying to build something that I could look at and more easily form my opinions. Um, the tool does give you picks and those type of things, but it certainly gives you plenty of information to form your own opinion. And my goal was to simplify PPs.
Yeah, and you did a tremendous job for those that want to dive in and get the kind of the PPs that you're used to. You have that available to you as an option. But then if you're someone that is just tuning in on Triple Crown or Saratoga, you have some pretty nice I'll call them things that pop, such as the confidence and the pace shape, and you can look quickly and decide if you were just playing for a little bit. And then on your website, you've also done a great job for those that want to learn it. You have a complete user guide posted right here on the website. Again, description link will be in the description. So if you're trying to learn it, there's some great guide here on how to do that as well. And I assume it's live and people can sign up right away. I think you're giving away just if people want to start. There's a free day, 7 day free trial.
Yeah, 7 days for a month and 3 days for a week. So give it a whirl. You can even cancel within that free period. So go in, check it out. Definitely check out the user guide. I would highly recommend that. It looks a little more complicated than it is. If you go through the user guide, most people are going to pick it up right away.
Yeah, he did an excellent job with that. So be sure to check that out. We then now turn our attention to race number 8 for Saturday, July 4th, up at Saratoga. It is the Suburban Stakes going a mile and a quarter on the dirt for 4-year-olds and up. We have a field of 11. Here is your field. And how perfect is it that we have number 9, Stars and Stripes, in the race on July 4th? On Monday, when I said it, I said he's probably going to take a lot of money, and we maybe want to sound the banjo alarm on picking this horse. And lo and behold, after I handicapped today and looked at the races a little bit deeper, I did actually use Stars and Stripes on my ticket. I think he has a pretty good shot in here. Last time out when he won, that was a strong front bias track, and he closed really nicely against that bias at Keeneland and the Ben Ali. And his speed figures of 109, 109 back to back to me as a career best make me think that another step forward here with the sire not this time, which I absolutely love, with Bill Maud and Junior Alvarado aboard, makes me think that Stars and Stripe here is probably live at 6-1. So I'll kick my ticket off with the 9 Stars and Stripes. He's not my on top pick in here. Who is your on top pick in the Suburban?
I went to the number 7 Antiquarian.
Oh, Sean will be
Um,
happy. Ring a bell for Sean.
yeah, I know he'll have his antiquarian hat on Saturday um, for Todd Pletcher and Johnny V. Um, yeah, I think that this could be a another duel between Antiquarian and um, Phileas Fogg from last year. And if you watch that race, Phileas Fogg got out on the lead, and there was nobody pressing him at all. I think Antiquarian was closer than he really wanted to be in that race, and made a charge at the end and just missed. But with the addition of forged steel into this race, I think he's going to have all he wants up front, Phileas Fogg, and I think that's really going to open the door for Antiquarian.
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. I actually love Phileas Fogg in here. That's my on top pick. He loves Saratoga, 2 for 3, 2 for 3 at the distance. And what I love most about Phileas Fogg is his jockey in this type of race and in this type of scenario. Kendrick Carmouche is there's no better jockey at Saratoga with a horse on the front end being able to control that speed. And when I see Kendrick, if you're a viewer of the show, you know we get the fireworks on the 4th of July for Kendrick Carmouche. We will be doubling down
Yeah.
on Carmouche, and this might actually be one of my nice big win bets on the day. And I might try to string together the double coming into this race, the double coming out of this race, and try to do the pick three. Because I just think I can picture a race pretty similar to what we see here happening again. Vinny will give me a hard time because he won it last year and I'm picking him again. But you know what? I love that angle too, but it's not the reason that I have chosen him. Uh, yes, Forge Steel will provide a little bit of early pressure for Phileas Fogg, but the pace early number on Phileas Fogg is 105. The pace early figure on Forge Steel is 98. So I can envision a scenario where Phileas Fogg and Kendrick gets out to the front in that as they break out and gets over to the rail in front of Forge Steel. And at that point it's all Kendrick. So I'm relying on the rider, and I'm relying on the fact that he is going to be that early presence, and hopefully he's fast enough to take them wire to wire in the race. When I click over to Racelenge and check out the projection, actually does have that almost exact scenario of Phileas Fogg getting out past the 1 and the 2, but then middle of the race, you can see maybe it is going to be too much pressure for him, and you actually have the 9 and the 2. Two's actually hanging a little bit better than I would expect here, and Stars and Stripes being your stalker. On the bottom, you can see Racelens agrees that the pace projects to be a slow one, so the advantage probably goes to horses that will be closer to the early pace, which also makes me feel good about Phileas. You used another in here.
Yeah, and the one thing I will say in regards to Forged Steel, I think you alluded to his average early pace, but if you look at that last race, he ran a 106,
Hmm.
and that's the one that jumped out at me. And he wired that field at Saratoga, so that's the one that made me think that Phileas Fogg may have a little more pressure than he wants.
Yeah, that makes sense. You
Yep,
also used the 4.
the four Parchment Party, and so Wilmot and Jose Lascano loved the last two races. Um, he's won twice at Saratoga. The distance is not going to be an issue for him. I think he's going to need to set just a little bit closer to the pace, and will certainly need a big effort. But I love the price at 8 to 1 if we get it. That's always the question to come the tote board time and post time is are you going to get that morning line? But um, love the horse and has been successful in 6 races. So we're going to give him a shot.
Yeah, I don't land on many Jose Lescano horses, and between the two, I'll follow Alvarado to the 9. I kind of consider them, in the similar ballpark of abilities. You're getting the better price. I think I'm getting the better jockey. So
Yep.
we will see how that plays out. And one last thing I wanted to show is I've also been working on a little bit of a simulator here. So we'll run the simulation. 1,000 races gets done, and in race 7, it has Abby Shiri as your 20% possible winner. And in race 8, you'll be happy to ooh, it switched. So it's very close between the two if I keep running it. Antiquarian was there at the top the first time. So it's
Yep.
Antiquarian, Phileas Fogg, and Hit Show are kind of all popping in and out as I run that simulation a few times. So I think we have all the right horses covered, even though when I went through this on Monday, I thought they looked a lot tougher. So I will try to use some of those opinions to parlay that into some winners in later in the card. I will bring up for all of you, if I can find it, our tickets, which I am struggling to find right now. Uh, So I am going to go. I can't find it, so we'll just call it out. I'm going to go 4-8 with the 6-9. It'll cost you $4. J Worm is going to go 6-8 with the 4-7, which will also cost you $4. Head on over to doublingdownshow.com. You can enter your picks and play along with us. Hope to have some great prizes lined up for everybody in the near term. And J Worm, thanks so much for taking the time to not only be a part of today's show, but you are one of our most loyal viewers. You are always dropping comments in their comment section, so we greatly appreciate your support.
I appreciate you having me, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say, the handicapping tool I put together. I tossed over to Colin many, many, many times. We've had many, many conversations about these tools and these handicapping scenarios that we've put together. It's a lot of fun to be able to bounce it off each other, and he's been a big help to me. So I really appreciate that, Colin.
Anytime you've done the same for me, and it just shows you how many the game is an onion, and you can find so many ways to have fun with it, whether it's picking names, numbers, diving into data, putting them through AI. It's never ending, which is why we love it so much. So throw there in the comments section who you like in today's Daily Double. Until next time, he's Jay Worm and I'm Colin. Good luck, everybody.